Check this out. I am a subcontractor. Pardon me. Hold on. We just started. I'm already with the coughs. I'm sorry. All right, check this out. I'm a contractor, right? And I work with a prime contractor. So I'm a subcontractor. They're a prime contractor. And, we did a deal, whatever. That prime contractor supports the customer. They did the contract. They did a deal with the customer, which is the government. And then after they do that deal and they win the contract, they now go and find subcontractors to come help them support the customer. I'm a subcontractor, right? Now, when you win a contract with the government, you're on the hook to what is that? To deliver monthly status reports. Some agencies enforce it, some agencies don't. But that's just what it is. You win the contract, you're on the hook to now provide a monthly status report. Now, this contractor that I work with, they provide a monthly status report. However, the way they put this monthly status report together is by having weekly status reports. So they reach out to their employees and their contractors and they ask them for a weekly status report. And then they take that weekly status report at the end of the month, put it together. If they got any questions, they'll reach out. But they put that together and they turn in a monthly status report to the customer. That process that I just described, I have automated. I've automated it for myself. And today I'm going to tell you two things. I'm going to tell you how you can automate it for yourself and why you should. All right, let's do this. Welcome to the SharePoint Help Desk podcast. I am your host, Thurman Trotman. This is the show where I talk strategy. I don't do too much, talking about the tech. While I know the tech, I don't think that that's what you're tuning into a podcast for. I have to assume that you're not doing that. I guess maybe, these days because they call podcasts audio or video, so maybe you tune into the video portion to get tech help. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll throw up some screenshots and stuff like that to help support the stuff that I'm saying. But really, if you're new here, just know I'm talking about reasonings. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about why you should be using SharePoint to help grow your business or your career. Strategy, basically, is what I'm here for. So with all that being said, I am going to talk about the tech real quick, even though I just ran my mouth about all of that, by telling you the how. And the only reason I'm telling you the how is because I feel like because it's, not so difficult, it's not like a hard mountain to climb. I don't want you to think that what I'm talking about is very difficult to do. Maybe it might be a little bit difficult if you're brand new, but, it's pretty easy. It's easy if you're one of those people who say things like, I think I'm dangerous with technology. I'm a little bit dangerous. But even if you're not, my track record that I have, I feel like I have shown plenty of people who are scared of technology how to use the technology, and they've done better with their life, with their work life at least. So let me tell you the how. Here's what you do. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so before I tell you how this works, let me explain something. The three big portions of SharePoint are SharePoint sites, SharePoint lists, and SharePoint libraries. Sites is literally where you can build websites. Lists are like spreadsheets, except on steroids and in the web. And then libraries are where you host your files, your documents, right? Imagine if Microsoft reached into SharePoint. They looked at all of their features, and then they plucked out specifically the SharePoint list feature. They just pulled that out of SharePoint and then put it inside of their 365 their 365 list of apps and called it Microsoft Lists. That's literally what that application is. Microsoft Lists is like if they reached into SharePoint and pulled out SharePoint Lists, that specific feature, and then renamed it. Because it's literally identical to SharePoint Lists inside of SharePoint. That is the application that you need to use to do what I'm going to talk about today. Also, if you want a little bit more understanding of what Microsoft Lists really is, this is not a Microsoft definition, but I personally call it like the OneDrive of SharePoint Lists. So you know how SharePoint is collaboration where everybody's working, we're, using everything together, and OneDrive is specifically for you. That's your stuff. and you can share it with other people, but it's your stuff. Microsoft lists, same deal. Those are your lists. That's your stuff. You can share it with other people. You can share them with other people, but Microsoft lists, those are your lists. It's your thing. Now, of course, you could definitely create, because Microsoft likes to be confusing, you can create a Microsoft list. You can go to Microsoft list, create a list, and then publish it on a SharePoint site. That's something you could do. Because again, Microsoft is going to Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay. So the way you would do what I'm talking about, the how that I'm explaining, you would go to Microsoft lists. Go to Microsoft lists and create, go to office.com, make sure you're signed in, click on the app launcher, find the Microsoft lists app, click on it, open it. When you open it, create a new list. When you create this new list, you're going to put the columns in the list of the things you plan to track in your weekly status report. Now, let me tell you what I put in mind. One, I put the week of, and I always use Monday. So if I'm reporting on last week, I'm going to say week of, date last week, Monday. Then, so week of is a date column. I put the previous Monday in there. Then I put summary. That's just a 1-sentence summary summarizing what this whole report is going to be about. Then I have a details column or updates. I forgot what to call it. But that's a rich text field filled with all of my updates. And I have another rich text field that I called risks/issues. And so that's another one where I just, fill it with a bunch of risks, if there's any risks or if there's any new risks or issues that the client needs to know about. Then I have one more column, and this column is called send to customer. And I'm going to tell you about that here in a second. So that's it. That's the gist of my whole entire report. I send them a one-page summary. I mean, not one page, a 1-sentence summary. I send them all of the details. I send them any risks or issues. And then I also, put the week of, the date. That's what I would create inside of Microsoft Lists. You could do the same thing or expand on it, create more, whatever you need to do. Then I go to Power Automate and I create a scheduled flow that runs every Monday at 10 a.m. What does it do? It goes to my list. This is what I tell it to do. Go to my list. Look at my list. Find any records that says yes when it says in the send to customer column. If it says yes, send to customer, then pull that information, put it inside of an email, and send it to these people that I've told you to send it to. And then when you're done, go back to that same item and change yes for send to customer, change that to no. That's the crux of the whole flow. That's it. Again, pretty easy. But if you're new to this, it can be a little bit difficult. You know what I'm saying? There's some steps in there that you got to understand. But that's fine. I think it's a great intro into Power Automate for you to understand. So that's it. That is the how. That's my whole thing right there. You go to Microsoft Lists, you create the list. Then you go to Power Automate, you set up the scheduled flow, have it send the email, and then turn the yes to no. That's it. You're done. Okay. Now that you have the how, you know what I mean? I'm not a big fan of the how. You know what I'm saying? We'll take care of that. Oh. Let me mention that. So go to automateyourstatusreport.com and you'll see a course that I just created that'll take you through the steps of doing this. So if you're like, you don't want to go YouTubing, you know what I'm saying, and trying to figure it out on your own, if you want the very specific steps in less than a half hour, this is a less than half hour course, but it packs a big punch. automateyourstatusreport.com. You know what I'm saying? Thank me later. No Drake. All right. The reason why I say, I'm not a big fan of that is because I could always show you that in video. Matter of fact, at automateyourstatusreport.com. So you could get that. But now, my favorite part, I want to talk about the why, like why this is dope, right? Okay. I'm gonna give you 3 reasons. So the first reason is you're all right, let me explain something. When I was in the military, we had something called the I Love You book. I was told about this very early in my career. What it is like you take a physical book, a physical notebook, or a spiral notebook, and you put those dividers in, not the dividers, you put the sheet protectors in there, like those see-through sheet protectors. Put those in there, because what you're going to be doing is all of your accomplishments, all of your, significant paperwork, maybe certificates, all these things, you're going to put them inside of those sheet protectors. And this is a book that is supposed to track all of the stuff that you've accomplished throughout your military career. I barely keep anything, but I still have my I Love You book. And when I look at this thing, I'm actually kind of upset because I only did it for the military. I wish. I was only in the military for 5 years. I did 4 years active and 1 year in the Guard. But I've been in the IT world and a professional for 20 years. I can't imagine what my I Love You book would look like after 20 years. That would be crazy. I wish I still had that. Anyway, I wish I would have did that. But at least I got my military one. Anyway, that's what an I Love You book is. It's like a list of all your accomplishments. So now, the reason number one is that even though you're accomplishing the task of sending the report via email, you're also building your digital I Love You book at the same time. I would use the term 2 birds with 1 stone, but that statement is kind of crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? That saying. I used to say it, but then I thought about it one day. I'm like, yo, who is taking a stone, like a rock, essentially, and killing 2 birds? Like, how did you do that? Would you throw it at a bunch of birds and like you hit 2 and you killed them, so now you feel good? Or did you take the 1 stone and like, I don't want to get too graphic. But these sayings is crazy. Just like, yo, more than one way to skin a cat. Like, bro, why are you skinning cats? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm gonna. Oh, what is it? I digress. Forget all that. You're doing 2 things with one effort. You're sending the task, the email out, but as you send the email out, you're also simultaneously building your I Love You book. So I know if you don't do it this way, you might be sending the email currently, and then you'll like take your email and put it inside of some folder inside your inbox. You might be doing that, which that's cool, but I don't think that's as good as this way, because that's just buried inside of your inbox. Like, how do you get that out of your inbox? You know what I'm saying? I don't even know. But the cool thing with what I'm talking about, perk number 1, the why, is that you get to build your I Love You book while also sending out your email, like actually accomplishing the task of sending the report. So think about it. Like, after like 3 months, your supervisor or whoever it is, they have the weekly email that they've gotten used to. They see it every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Or maybe you do yours on a different day, whatever. But for me, they see mine every Monday morning, 10 a.m., getting into that routine. But little do they know, or maybe they do, if you want to tell them, I can go to Microsoft Lists and look at the last 3 months the way that I want to see it. I can see the whole thing. I don't have to, go digging through email or whatever. Here's another thing you can do, right? So we have been putting columns on there that I talked about, week of, summary, updates, risks / issues, and send to customer. You can put another column on this called like category. So in category, you could put something like, cybersecurity, or IPT, which stands for Integrated Project Team, I believe. Maybe, I can't think of anything else. Large scale project. You can put that in there too. Put whatever categories you want to. It's basically like the things that you handle, right? So here's perk number 2. Perk number 2, the reason why, number 2, is that you can mine your own data to inform other things. You know what I'm saying? So let's say you've put the category column on this list, and you've put things like, IPT, large scale project, and cybersecurity, for instance, right? So January 2025, you get a new job. You know what I'm saying? And when you get this new job, you do literally what I have explained already. You start your weekly status report. And also, you did not wait for your boss to tell you to send them a status report. You are sending a status report because you're taking initiative and you want people to know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? A closed mouth doesn't get fed. You speak up for yourself. Send that report and make it good. So January 2025 comes, you're knocking it out. Now, let's say around like June, they're like, hey, we're starting an integrated project team, IPT, and it's for the cybersecurity project. We're looking for people to, come support. And you join this team. And when you join this team, you only do it for 4 months. I mean, 4 months, for a month. It's some kind of project that was a pretty big deal, but it only took 4 months to do. I mean, 4 weeks. Why do I keep saying that? So 1 month, right? Now, you're tackling your regular duties all throughout June, but you're also working on this IPT, and this just happens to be a cybersecurity IPT, something y'all are doing for cybersecurity. When you turn in your weekly report for that first week in June, with this new column that you've added called category, you could tag it and say cybersecurity and say IPT. So you put 2 tags on that record, cybersecurity and IPT. And you do not have to update the email. The email doesn't have to include your categories. But your Microsoft list, your status report built in Microsoft list, that has your categories. You don't have to include it in the email. Okay, now you got your categories in there. So you do it again. Week 2 of June, you knock out your regular duties, and now you throw some tags on this second report. Second report in June. Cybersecurity, IPT. You do the same thing week 3, cybersecurity, IPT. But then come week 4. This week, you've actually completed it. Y'all have finished this project. It was successful. It was a good look. You put the details in there about what you accomplished and, what y'all have changed. And then you have another category in that category column. You can call that, you can put a tag in there called complete. So you have 3 tags on this record: IPT, cybersecurity, and you put complete. The reason you did that is because you've hit a milestone of completion. So now, January 2027, right? You're now 2 years in at this new job. You started January 2025. June 2025, you went on some 1 month project. January 2027, 2 years later, you're now starting to look. It's time to update your resume. You see different jobs out there. You go mining. You go look through your status reports history and filter it. Filter it to say, show me all of the cybersecurity stuff that I did. Because over time, you've actually been doing a few cybersecurity things. Show me cybersecurity, but also show me complete. Like, you can filter on those 2 things. So now you get to see the cybersecurity projects that you worked on, but the milestones that you hit because, you tagged it complete. So you can see during the time, your 2 years, there's actually 4 projects that you worked on that was cybersecurity related, and here's what you accomplished. Because in your report, you put actual numbers. So now you could look at this report and go update your resume. You know what I'm saying? Or look at this report to freshen yourself up to get ready to go on an interview for cybersecurity. Or you want to update LinkedIn and create some content about cybersecurity, about something that you did. So you've been publishing that stuff online. This is perk number 2, is that as you build your I Love You book, you get to mine it for actual information and then use it. Can you do this in a spreadsheet? Of course you could do it in a spreadsheet. But you don't have the flexibility that you have in the SharePoint list. Because remember, we started with putting it literally in the SharePoint, in the list, and then having it automatically send an email. You're not doing that with a spreadsheet. There's some ways you can finagle your way into doing that, but anybody that knows, that listens to my show, that follows me online, knows all the things I talk about. I do not advocate for putting data directly into a spreadsheet. Not happening. So put it into the list. Okay, so that's perk number 2. So let's go back. Let's recap before I get to number 3. 1 is that you get to simultaneously send your updates while also building your I Love You book. You now know what an I Love You book is. Number 2 is that you can mine. You can set up your I Love You book to actually pull that information. So, me with my I Love You book for the military, I could go look through it now, but if I got to find something, I got to flip through pages to find something. Where with my list, I just go search it and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So that's perk number 2. I get to mine my data to inform things like a new resume, or content creation, or going on a job interview, whatever. It's just my stuff. Number 3, it's portable. So January 2027 comes. I'm updating my stuff. I'm doing interviews and all that. March 2027, I got a new job. I got the new job. This is great. I give the company 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm out of there, right? On my last week, here's what I do. I export my whole entire I Love You book, all of my status reports, I export it to Excel. Which, again, if you know what I talk about, I'm always like, yo, listen, I don't put data in the spreadsheets. Spreadsheets should be the last stop on the data train. And this is what I mean. This whole time I wasn't putting my data inside of a spreadsheet. I was putting it inside of a system, SharePoint, aka Microsoft Lists. And now that I'm leaving this position, I'm going to export it to Excel and take that with me. That's my stuff. So I'm going to take it with me in a spreadsheet. Now, I get to the new position. Guess what I could do? Hopefully they got Microsoft 365. They set up my profile. I'm going to go into Microsoft Lists, and I'm going to say create list, right? When I create this list, I'm going to create it from a spreadsheet. And then I import that spreadsheet that I just brought, and I put it all into my new list here. It's all there, sitting inside of a Microsoft List, the archive that I can pull from. And now going forward, I just set up the flow again. And again, I'm not waiting for some boss to tell me, hey, send me a weekly status report. I'm doing it without being asked. So I set up my new flow. I do run it to myself. So instead of immediately sending it to the supervisor or the boss or whatever, I set it up to come every Monday, 10 a.m. With the updates, but it's coming to me so that I could see it. I get a taste for it. I see it in my inbox. I like the formatting. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this looks good. All right, cool. So now going forward, I'll switch that inside of Power Automate. I'll just put the right people on the email, and now the email can actually go out to who it needs to go to. And it doesn't have to go to them in the abyss and you don't know what's going on. You can easily just BCC yourself on the email. Very simple. So if you want to see the actual emails come to your inbox, even though they're going to show up in your sent items, I know some people are like this. If you want to BCC yourself, you can do that. If you want to BCC maybe like your private company, you can do that too. Because, some contractors, if you will sit at the government, and the government will give them a profile that has like the government information on it. So then they can just set up what I'm talking about right now, the status report, have it go to the customer. It can go out to the customer, but they can also CC their own personal email so that they can have the archive of the stuff that they're sending inside of their personal inbox. But again, you don't really have to do that. Everything is being captured inside of the list, but you can do whatever you want. Okay, so that's perk number 3, is that it's portable. You can take it with you. You get ready to leave the job. You did a good job. They have the party for you. It's a whole thing. You take it with you. You go to your new position. A project comes up. You know what I'm saying? A project comes up and they're like, yeah, we want to do this X, Y, and Z. All you got to do is be like, yo, didn't I work on something like that? Matter of fact, we had pretty good success. You go to your list, do a search, look for large scale projects or whatever it is we're talking about, construction. I don't know, whatever you worked on. See the project that you worked on that was in that category. Maybe search by complete, maybe not, you know what I'm saying, to just get some more details. Then that next staff meeting, you go to that staff meeting with your computer and just pull it up and talk to it. Say, listen, yeah, I think I'd be a good candidate to be on this team or even lead this team because here's what we did before. Pull out metrics on them. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time that you were creating that status report, you had specific details that you're not going to remember on your own. Let the system remember. You know what I'm saying? And remember, this is how you actually use the status report. It's like this. Or this is how I use it. Monday morning comes. The old one goes out. It gets sent automatically. I personally go and create the new one. Could I have Power Automate create the new one for me? Yes, of course I can. But I like working the muscle of actually going there and creating a new item. So I go and I create the new item for the week. My columns come there already set up. And throughout the week, I go there and make updates, detailed updates. Nothing too long that I don't want the person to look at and be like, I'm not reading this foolishness, but nothing too short to make it look like I'm not doing any work of substance. I like to put substance in my reports. So there's that. You know what I'm saying? Once the week finishes, if I got anything that I forgot or maybe I slipped up and then didn't put in there, it might be written in my notebooks and I just got to transfer it to the list, put it in there, and I know that Monday morning comes, emails going out. That's it. You can do this too. Don't forget, automateyourstatusreport.com. But also don't forget, these 3 points. The reason why that you want to do this is, one, you get to build your I Love You book while still completing the task. You don't have to send the email and then copy that information out and put it somewhere else. You work inside of the list, let the list do the heavy lifting for you by sending out the email like clockwork. Your supervisor's going to love that, seeing that thing every Monday at 10 a.m. or whatever day you pick. You know what I'm saying? That's one. Then two is you because you built your I Love You book, you get to mine your data and inform things like new resumes, like content creation if you're creating content online, like prepping yourself for an interview. Like when you get to the new job, you can talk to, what is that? To new projects that you might want to be on. Don't forget about reviews while you're in your current position. So you do quarterly reviews, no problem. Go to your list and pull up the last quarter of your updates and pluck out some information in there. If you want to send it to your boss ahead of time, you can filter for last quarter of your updates, take out all the extra stuff, and you could show the last quarter of just updates. You don't even have to include risks. So while your supervisor might have in their inbox all of your updates, make it convenient for them. Instead, quarterly reviews coming up. You say, okay, boss, I'm going to send you my updates and we can talk about them when we have the sit down. You create a view on the list. The view only shows your updates, and then you could show the week of too if you want to. It shows the week of, it shows the updates. You filter it to show these things. You send that link to your supervisor. Your supervisor clicks on the link and they're only going to see the last quarter of all the things you've been talking about. All of that. You know what I'm saying? Low-hanging fruit here that we talking about. This is nothing crazy. So anyway, that's perk number 2, is that you get to mine that data and use it to inform things that you're doing in your career. Number 3 is that it's portable. So if you leave one position, you go to another one, you take it with you and then import it into the new profile when they set you up, import it into your new Microsoft list and put it in there. If you go to an organization that does not have Microsoft 365, then I would encourage you to have your own setup, have your own Microsoft 365 suite. It's like a cheat code, yo, because this it's like a virtual desktop or a virtual office, I'm sorry, that goes with you anywhere you go. As long as you got an internet connection, username and password, multi-factor authentication, get yourself signed into your desktop anywhere you go. You know how it is. Anyway, that's the recap of the 3 points. I hope that you understand the value in this, the fun in this, the creativity, because I'm just scratching the surface here. I do very basic status reports. You can do some souped up status reports, whatever your boss is used to getting from you. You can do that. You know what I'm saying? All right. Okay, if you're new here, I do a segment called LinkedIn Love. It's where I shout out somebody or something dope that I saw on LinkedIn on LinkedIn. This week, I'm shouting out my guy, Marcus Bullock. And here's why. Years ago, one of my boys actually put me on to Marcus. He was like, yo, my dude is, mad cool. We should talk to him because he created an app that allows you to easily stay in touch with your folks who are incarcerated. So what the app does is it's called Flickshop. What the app does is you create your postcard digitally. Like you take the picture, write the note, and then you take some other steps, and he'll create a postcard for you and send it to your folks who's incarcerated. Simple, but dope. You know what I'm saying? And the reason he did this because he was incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? Like he was, doing his thing when he was younger, ended up in jail, came out of jail, changed his life around. Really, I'm sure he changed his life while he was in jail. And while Flick Shop is dope and growing and is fire, he these days, if you talk to him, he'd be talking about being a public speaker. You know what I'm saying? Like he runs a program. Matter of fact, this is the reason why I highlighted him. Because yesterday, somebody on LinkedIn talked about being in his program. You know what I'm saying? And I reposted it talking about, yo, there's no better commercial than somebody telling you how much you help them and doing it with, doing it genuinely. Like, yo, this person helped me and this is what's up. This is what I've been able to do. And yeah, so he teaches people how to earn bread from being a public speaker. And this person was talking about it and saying, yo, shout out to Marcus because, you know what I mean, inside of the program, they've helped me. I think he had like 3 speaking engagements already. So shout out to Marcus, man. You know what I'm saying? I should have been shouting him out because he's doing dope things. Love his energy. You know what I'm saying? I've never met him in person, but all my boys know him, you know what I'm saying, in person. And I'm pretty sure one day we'll connect in person. Shout out to Marcus. Go follow him. And if you got somebody locked up, go check out Flick Shop. Send him a little something. Okay. So there's also some folks. If you're new here, I do a segment called FanMail. Right? And the reason I created this segment is because one episode, somebody sent me some fan mail because Buzzsprout, who I host my podcast with, they created a feature where if you look in your podcast app, you'll see a link that says send us a text. But really what you would do is click on that, send a message, and it comes directly to me. I get an email, and they call it fan mail. I got fan mail from somebody one time, got super excited, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Got this feature. So from now on, I'm going to highlight somebody who sends me fan mail. Every week I ask for fan mail. Nobody sends it. I've gotten 2 pieces of fan mail and it's for the same person. Shout out to you. I love that piece of fan mail. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, yo, nobody's sending them. So I was about to start calling the segment fan mail. I was about to end the segment because nobody's doing it. But I forgot. I completely forgot that I get love across the platforms where I post information. I'm on a bunch of different platforms. So it doesn't have to come from inside of the podcast app, somebody clicking, the link and doing all that. Hold on. Oh, man. Whew. Pardon me. It doesn't have to come that way. You can easily just, I could pull a comment from any one of these platforms and be like, yo, shout out to you. So this week I'm doing that, but it's not on no interwebs. You know what I'm saying? It's not public. It was somebody who sent me an email. And I just won't say their name only because this is an email. So I don't want to, I don't know if they're going to be okay with this. Maybe they would, but I just don't want to say their name. But I do want to highlight what was said here because this was dope. And this is not me, boosting my ego. This is me just, matter of fact, doing what I was talking about with Marcus, except I'm the one who's reading the feedback. I want to show you how SharePoint can change your life. Okay. It says, the project manager came to me and said that the client asked for a better overview of the orders and status. So here's the players. There's a project manager who deals with this big, ginormous customer of theirs. The customer says, I need better a better overview of the orders and the status. That's what the customer said to the project manager. Here's the next line. Our guys keep sending him messy Excel sheets that gives him a headache. So the project manager tells the folks, listen, the customer wants better reporting. They keep sending him spreadsheets He takes out a customer, and it's like, yo, even he has a headache when he gets that information. So it's annoying taking it to the customer because he's like, no, yo, I know I can do better than this. But we sat down yesterday. This is me going on in the email. We sat down yesterday and I planned the new site in a SharePoint list, exclamation point. The client loved it. Loved is capitalized. And here's another exclamation point. Our project manager said he is sure this will play a big role in keeping the contract. This was all thanks to you, Thurman. Thank you. Listen to me. That is fire. You know what I'm saying? I love hearing stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I know what I'm talking about. I know that if you give me the opportunity to sit down with you, especially if you have an open mind, I have to imagine that this person has an open mind, obviously, because they heard me on this podcast in a whole entire other country and reached out, you know what I'm saying, to get this thing straightened out. And since that, I've earned some bread, you know what I'm saying, but also helped them out. You know what I mean? All because of this podcast. So I know you're sitting there listening like, oh, man, Thurman knows what he's talking about. I just don't know if I want to make the leap. Yes, you do. You know what I'm saying? I can help you. Trust me. Anyway, that is the fan mail. Again, I don't really like saying fan. I'm not running around here talking about, yo, I got fans. You know what I'm saying? There's listeners of the show, supporters of the show, you know what I'm saying? Supporters of my content, that type of stuff. People in the SPHD community, if you will. That kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel so inclined, definitely send the fan mail inside of the Buzzsprout, feature, using the Buzzsprout feature. But if not, it's cool. I will pull something off of a comment. Like I'm getting comments on this latest YouTube video I just dropped. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of which, okay, let's get to the last segment here. So yeah, another segment I do here is called announcements. And listen, everything that I'm talking about, everything is going to be inside of the show notes. So don't worry about that. But I might need a sponsor. You know what I'm saying? Like I need a sponsor for LinkedIn Love. Maybe LinkedIn could sponsor that. I need a sponsor for the fan mail segment. You know, like how in football, in the NFL, there'll be like the Verizon halftime show. You know what I'm saying? I want to be like, yo, the I don't know, whatever your company is. I'd love to, big up your company. The ABC Corp fan mail segment. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. If I could get to that point, that'd be super fire. I'd love to do that. So basically, yeah, I'm selling advertising. But it got to be a good mix. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a company that's using 365, something that'll be, good for the people that are listening here. So matter of fact, I'm going to set that package up so that you could advertise on and sponsor one of these segments. Okay, last segment here, announcements, which I probably got to get a better name than that. Announcements just too boring. Too regular. Okay, number one, I already actually mentioned it. Automate your statusreport.com. Go there, learn how to automate your status report. Number two, the risk register. Pardon me. The link will be in the show notes. Learn how to build a risk register inside of SharePoint. You know what I'm saying? Link in the show notes. Number three is I'm updating the name of the community I'm building next year. So I'm no longer calling it the SPHD community. I'm calling it the SPHD Academy because this thing is for you to come and learn. The two main things I'm doing in there is training, recorded on-demand training, access to it, unlimited. You're good to go. And live Q&As. I'm thinking twice a month right now. Maybe we'll scale it back. Maybe we'll ramp it up, depending on the attendance. But twice a month in there, live Q&As. Come and get your questions answered. Something is messing with you. You can't figure it out. Bring it to the Q&A. We'll help you out. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, unlimited training, access to all that training inside of the academy. So no longer the SPHD community, but instead the SPHD Academy because it's focused on you learning. And then taking that information back, like this person who just emailed me, and going and looking like the superstar at your organization. That's what gives me the rush. I don't want the accolades. I want to teach you how to do a thing, and then you take that to your organization and you knock it out of the park. Come back and tell me what happened, and I'll be excited for you. Hopefully, I could get this person on the podcast, the one whose email I just read. It'd be dope to talk about like a before and after, you know what I'm saying? So that y'all could, again, find out that I'm not joking. I'm not BSing here. Like, it's for real. You could change the way you do your work. I had one more announcement. Oh, inside of my email newsletter, which you need to get on. I'm telling you, I'm turning this thing into like a magazine. Go to sharepointfreebie.com if you want to get down. In the email newsletter, what I'm doing now is I have a segment, I have a link that you could click on and put in your information, right? And then I will take that information and introduce you to the rest of the SPHD community, the email list. So if you click on a link, fill out like 2-3 questions, I will take your information, put it back into my next follow-up email to the list, and say, hey, everybody, check this person out. This is this person. They do this, and a great connection for them would be this kind of person. Take a look. Here's their link to their social, or link to their website, or email them here, whatever you want to do. But yeah, get on the email list. I am in 2025. That's another update for real. So this is the announcement section, so I might as well just mention it. I'm going way more deep with my email list. I've been sitting here giving all of this love to these social platforms to show people all the cool things you could do with SharePoint and why it's dope and all this other stuff. And these platforms got these foolish algorithms that, mess things up. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them because they helped me build my audience. But if you're on my email list, direct to your inbox. Ain't no algorithm stopping me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some spam, maybe some spam filters, or some, what do you call that? Like Gmail will say, yo, this is going over the promotions and this is going over the updates, whatever. That'll mess me up or whatever. But you'll see it in your inbox, and if you want it, you'll open it, and then you'll continue to get it. I got a pretty high open rate, which is cool, and I see people clicking on it too. Another pretty high click rate. People love this stuff, but more than loving it, you need it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help you. So get down on the email list so you could get the emails, which have, it's more things rounded up in one area, and I'm turning it into a magazine. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be like not the SPHD magazine. It's going to have a different name, but it's like a magazine for people who just want to work better. So it won't be strictly SharePoint. It'll be how to do your work better. So I don't care what industry you're in. As long as you're sitting behind a desk, you're using a computer, I got that work. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put it in a magazine for you. We're going to make it all nice. I'm 10Xing when we talking about emails next year. All the good content is coming to email. Some decent stuff on social, but great stuff in the email. Anyway. I've actually taken up more time than I planned to. Way more time. Usually episodes ain't this long. But anyway, appreciate you hanging out if you made it this far. I will talk to you next week. Get on the email list.